And we're back. Welcome to our Jordan episode 2-3. Hey, what's good? I'm Jessica Johnson Cope.
I was like, Jordan 23. Oh, sorry. I'm Waleed Cope.
What's up, Cope?
Nothing much.
Welcome to Commerce and Chill. This is our podcast where we talk about everything entrepreneurship, small business stuff, relationships, and life from a perspective of two married people who live and work together and own a couple of businesses. So welcome. If this is your first time with us, I just have to apologize. Your girl is tired. We're just wrapping up virtual Capitol Hill Week with the 10,000 small businesses. Yay. I feel like I literally walked to Washington, D.C. and walked every single inch of the Capitol buildings, reaching out to our elected officials in Washington. But it was a great time because we got some wonderful conversations with the team at the Treasury Department to understand what's coming next with PPP, because you know PPP had you waiting, and now he's happy. So one of the
I'm still not happy. I'm just smiling.
One of the things we're advocating
I'm too tired to do anything else.
Is another opportunity for some business owners to get PPP funding. So not just more money for people who haven't gotten it, but for those who got it and are still trying to get their businesses back on track. Let's get some more money.
Yeah. Additional capital.
So if you have a relationship with your congressman, with your senator, congresswoman, holla at them and tell them there should be more PPP so small businesses like ours can put people back to work. On another note, when we think about what happens in Washington, small businesses can make an impact through federal contracting. I know a lot of small businesses that have become large businesses because they've been successful in federal contracting. What's your experience been with federal contracting?
I don't really be effing with it like that. But, you know, at JSB we do something, but on the other side, I'm just like, it's good. It's a good avenue to pursue and grow. I guess I'm just old school. I like to go straight to the source, develop a relationship, and then get their business versus this, you know, the RFP, the proposal, this, and then you go and do the show, and then they say, okay, we narrowed it down from 15 people to now it's down to 5 people. We want you to come back and do another show, and then now it's down to 2 people. Come back and do another show. And I'm just like, yay, I'm here for the show. But inside I'm just like, come on, bro. Yeah, but it's a good opportunity. Like, people can, you know, they have set asides for particular businesses, size or certifications. So it could be a great way for you to, one, you could just use it as a niche and focus on that and go after them. And you could probably make some ridiculous money. Not probably, you can, because there are people out there doing it. And we know at times, you know, the government pays a different rate than the average person would. So yeah, you could focus on it as a niche and just exclusively do government contracts, and it could be very lucrative. Or you could use it to get your foot in the door to get some experience, like you do a few here and there, because they have small business set aside or a particular type of business set aside, like minority or 8A.
Not really minority, though, on the federal side.
Oh, well, 8A or small business set aside.
Hub zone.
Yeah, see, she knows way more about it.
Service disabled.
I'm like knocking at your door like, you need my services? She's like, here's the proposal, smiles. Yeah.
But we've had an experience where it's not, the relationships do matter.
It does, yeah.
So it's not just about, okay, there's an RFP, 500 people apply.
Well, once you get it, like once you get in and they get to know you, then you develop a relationship with the contracting officer, a professional relationship, a business relationship. Let's be clear. And then they know your business. They know your brand. They know what type of service you do. They know how well you do. So then when they're putting something out for bid, then they think of you and ask you to bid on it along with, you know, the pool of people. Or maybe they put it out for bid and nobody bids on it. And then they call you and be like, listen, we got this RFP out. We haven't had any responses. Would you be interested? And then you submit a bid, and then, you know, maybe somebody else submits one, and then, or nobody else. And then next thing you know, ta-da, you win.
Isn't that exactly what happened to us?
Yeah.
So
It did.
almost 10 years ago now, we got a call from the Department of Veteran Affairs.
10 years. Damn, I'm old.
They found our information through market research. They looked at our codes, what they call NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System codes.
Google it.
And they saw that we did armed transport, and they said, we need an armed transport company, send us a quote. And we're like, yeah, right, whatever. The team said, we don't want to do this.
No, the team. It was me. Let's call it. It was me. I was like, hell no, I'm not interested in it. Sorry, beep that out.
And so I said, well, let's just send them a quote, because they need to have a quote, because they have to have a certain number of quotes before they can proceed. So
just send them a quote, Waleed. Yeah, it'll be all right. Yeah, don't worry. Just send them a quote, just so they know who we are. They probably won't pick us anyway.
Yeah, wrong. Oh, so
10 years later, I'm still doing.
We're still doing it though, but we've also been able to build strong relationships with the contracting officers at the time. So Nefertiti, McDonald, and Hope. Oh goodness, Hope's name just ran out of my head.
Never say names, because now you put yourself on the spot.
That's all right. We still love Hope. Hope called 2 weeks ago. She's at a different agency now, and she wanted to know if we could potentially help her, not help her, but meet the requirements needs on a contract that she's sourcing. And we gave her a couple of names and potentially set up some of our friends' businesses to get those contracts. So it all comes back full circle. It's the circle of life in the federal contracting. But the reason I bring up federal contracting is because I recently got a call from some friends. I have a friend that I've known since high school. When we were both congressional pages in Washington, D.C.
A long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
Many gray hairs ago. A lot.
Way, many moons ago. And so she and her business partner were evaluating a federal contracting opportunity that was a small business set aside. So that means that the prime contractor has to be designated as a small business by the Small Business Administration, and that's based either on your revenues. You can't have revenues in excess of a certain amount based on your NAICS code. So we qualified, and so they called and said, are you interested in teaming to go after this opportunity? Now, with the federal government, the interesting thing is contracting is pretty cut and dry for the most part. It's not like with a private organization where if you know somebody and take them out to a steak dinner, you win. You can't do that on the federal side. You have to put together a narrative to describe how you're going to do the work. And it brings me to the topic for today.
What, narratives and proposals? I don't know.
Size, scope, and complexity. Size, scope, and complexity.
I'm not going to have much to say after this.
You always have a lot to say.
I'm not going to have nothing to say. We're talking about government contracts and size, scope, and what'd you say? Complexity. The more complexity you add into it, the more I check the out. But go ahead, I'm listening.
So I've been struggling to write our portion of the proposal. I mean, aside from
it's not me.
Aside from Virtual Hill Week, aside from...
Is this it here?
Well, this is a combination.
It's like 1,000 pages.
So we work with a PTAC, a Procurement and Technical Assistance Center.
This would be like a $300 million contract. All those pages.
The money is long. We work with the PTAC, the Procurement and Technical Assistance Center, and the advisors there recommend that you break down the RFP into little pieces so that you...
How many little pieces are left? Like if this is a slice, how many more slices make up?
So this is the actual RFP. The RFP itself is 161 pages. And so it starts off with a standard form. The standard form 33, which is a solicitation, offer, and award. And it has all the details about
so you
the RFP.
You gotta read 131 pages.
No, 161.
Oh, 161.
So the
RFP
is 161 pages.
So you gotta read all this,
yes,
obviously,
you have
before
to
you
read
did
all
it.
this.
Like, I would have checked out on page 15.
In the questions and answers.
What size font is this, like 10?
No, this is like maybe
like
7. 8. Yeah. Then the questions and answers are like another 7 pages.
I can't mess with that.
And so I was just
Thank
really
God
having a hard
you.
time wrapping my head around it with everything that we were dealing with here in the business and trying to make sure people were going to work. And the hard part was past performance, because we haven't done any work exactly like what they're looking for. But
so lie. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Don't lie.
And so at one point, I just took some paper and I just started writing down the questions so that get my mind and my hand in the process of writing something. I would generate the creative juices and the responses would come to me. So the responses
you would randomly ask me questions like, what's another word for this? Or what about when we did this? How would you phrase this? And I'd just be like, apples. She'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's really how it happened.
Truth be told.
But then there was something that jumped out at me. The government likes to talk about past performance and basically go experience. But for past performance, what the government often looks for is, I'll read it to you. In assessing the relevance of past performance, the government will consider relevant contracts as those contracts that are ongoing or completed as of a certain date, of comparable level of size, scope, and complexity to the requirements of the solicitation. And it hit me.
What hit you?
RFP, federal contracting, it's a microcosm of life. It's a microcosm of relationships.
What is this, the Lion King? It's a circle of life.
Nah, for real though. Listen, let me break this down.
Here it comes.
Size, scope, and complexity.
Okay.
When we are working in our business,
very complex,
and we're trying to look to how we're going to grow our business, the best place to start is with what we've already done.
Okay.
Now, the challenge is many small business owners get caught in the weeds and they stay where they are. They can't even think about what's coming next.
Because they're trying to stay alive.
To figure out a growth plan or strategy or tactics. But when you put size, scope, and complexity into perspective, it can help you figure out what's next.
Yeah. Yup. What are you looking at me like that for?
Because I thought you were gonna say something more.
I don't know what else to say. Like this is your land. Like I'm just following. You're Moses, and I'm just following you.
Foreign territory.
like I get like they're good. Like I'm not knocking them. Like they're good. You know. That thing is thick, right? And I'm not saying people shouldn't do RFPs or do any type of bidding proposal or federal, private, whatever. My thing is this. Can we get the disclaimer below too? I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm like, what is the best use of your time depending on the size and stage of your business? So you talk about scope, something, and complexity. Size, scope, and complexity. So, you know, depending where you are depends in your business and how big your team is, or can you outsource it? Can you Fiverr it? No, probably not. But how much time can you spend on it that it's taking away from other stuff? And how does that, you know, balance out in your business? So I'm always like 50-50 when it comes to them.
But I see it from a different light. I don't think it's as much as a factor of how much time you spend in responding to the RFP, because the RFP really, it's
a big book.
It is a big book, but because I put it all together instead of walking around with like little pieces of paper hanging out my pocket. The RFP itself is a distraction tactic because many people and organizations are not going to take the time to go past page.
It's not a distraction. It's a deterrent.
It's a deterrent.
Because you download it and you see a PDF that's 161 pages. I'm like, fuck that. I ain't doing it. Because I got to go do X, Y, and Z in my business. And I got a 4, 3, or 10-man shop. And if one person is out of the loop, it throws a monkey wrench into the operation.
Right. But this is the lesson.
It's a lesson.
This is a lesson that
it's how the man keeps you down. Because probably half of that shit in there is probably like fluff. I bet you when you read through it, probably 161 pages, I bet you like 15 pages are really the meat. Maybe 20. Let's go 30 tops. I'm not going no higher than 30. Am I right?
Well, I'll say this.
No, I'm saying out of the pages.
Well, no.
Not that I'm right that it's fluff. You don't have to agree with me on that.
Well, no. They include pages that speak to what they'll call task order.
There's a lot of drawings and illustrations.
A lot of outlines and templates, but the templates and outlines are not required for the initial response.
Okay.
What the lesson is how do you articulate what you're capable of doing? How do you make the connection for the person that's reading it, the person on the other end of the camera, the person on the other end of the phone, of what you're able to do? How do you demonstrate using your words the size, scope, and complexity of things that you've already completed? I'll give you an example, and you can build off of this. We have our buddy with the guy with the white stuff.
Okay.
We have a buddy.
It's legal for all you out there thinking white stuff.
So our buddy has a company where he's a distributor of a legal product. He's based here in the Bronx, and he had the opportunity to grow his business by acquiring a competitor. And we had some conversations around what that looks like. And since neither of us have had a deal that size,
really big deal.
So
really,
we were
really
kind of
big.
drawing blanks. And so we went to a mutual friend who was a banker. And when we started talking about the numbers, $200 million, we started talking about the numbers. Put it back.
Go ahead.
Put it back.
Wait, what are you talking? Like you just said a big number. How are you disclosing numbers now?
I'm just saying.
Like somebody beep that part out, please.
Don't beep it out, because sometimes you need to see other people's big, hairy, audacious goals.
We'll just say high X figures.
But no, high X figures does not give enough context to what opportunities can be. And too often we play in the kiddie pool. Put your feet in, but you can't put your whole bottom in.
Well, I mean, some people belong in the kiddie pool. Some people in the kiddie pool and still drowning and don't realize they could just stand up and walk out. Because that's their thing. They're comfortable in the kiddie pool. Some people like to go dive in the deep end and learn how to swim there and almost drown, like my dumbass did when I was a kid. But hey, I'm still here. It worked, right? Everybody's different. You got to let people do their thing. Like, let them be comfortable. Like, I'm speaking to the people who want to break out of that comfort zone or who are breaking out of it. Like, if you're comfortable, see, that's where this thing is all twisted. Because now you hear people all the time talking about, oh, you in the rat race, you in the 9 to 5. Like, I see all these quotes out there and people talking all this. You talk about annoyed. Like, I'm really annoyed because I see all these quotes. Sorry about your scope, size, and complexity. Like, this is like we're gonna jump right back into it. It's annoying. You see all these quotes and people talking about you should be an entrepreneur. Like, you're 9 to 5. Like, you're slaving for your boss and this, that, and the third. Like, all these random quotes, and they make it seem and they phrase it where it should basically like you should quit your job and be an entrepreneur. But let's be clear. Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. And number two, if you're talking about somebody like building some type of financial foundation or having security, whatever these different posts and people speak about to lure people or to convince them that they should buy something to be an entrepreneur or read their stuff or subscribe to this, let's be clear. If you're talking about some kind of financial stability, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have financial success. Because one, financial success for everybody is different. Financial success for one person might be $80,000 a year. For another person, it could be $1 million a year. For somebody else, it could be $300 million. Somebody else, it could be $45,000 a year. So you're telling all these people they need to be an entrepreneur because that's the only way they're going to reach financial success? I beg to differ. I bet you the 15th or 16th or 20th person at Facebook is probably doing way better than probably 90% to 80% of entrepreneurs out there. And they got a job at a company, but they were early, right? They got in on something and they worked and they put in their hours and they became a part of something. So like, yeah, I'm sorry. Scope, size, complexity, like, yeah. Sorry.
Why are you so salty?
Because like it's just like I'm tired of people trying to paint this picture that like, and now that it's getting worse because of the COVID and people put stuff out there. oh, the only way you could be financially freedom, or you could have some type of...
Please. Houston, we have a problem. We have a main bus.
The other day it said, you have a job from 9 to 5 and something about the boss. And those are the most valuable times of the day. And now you can't make money for yourself. Or something like that. It was like, first of all, it was crazy. Like, I can't even, and I'm mad. I can't remember exactly what, and I'm going to find it on my phone because we're going to post it in this episode if I can. No promises. I'm going to try. I'll be scrolling through a lot of stuff. But I'm just like, that is not true. Like, they're painting the picture from one angle. We talked about this before. People talking about the 1%. Do you know if you make $400,000, a little more than $400,000, you're in the 1%? And granted, it's not a whole lot of people. I'm not even going to say there's a whole lot of people because I have no clue to how many people make $400,000 in the United States or in the world in North America. But if you make $400,000, a little more, you're in the 1%. Welcome to the club. Well, welcome to that club because I'm not in that club, right? So it's just so much talk and so much misinformation because people, I guess, are pushing whatever agenda they want to push to put something in front of people. But I'm like, just tell the truth. That's all. You prefer to work a 9 to 5. What else can you do from 6 to 12 or on Saturdays and Sundays that will give you're happy doing your 9 to 5? Like, for all you people out there putting out stuff telling people they should quit their job, there's some people who like going to work every day, who like working on a team, who like working with someone. Notice I said with, not for. There are some people who like that. So to pump out all that stuff to convince people that the only way they're going to find some freedom is they need to quit and be an entrepreneur. This is hard. It ain't for everyone. Like, you see these gray hairs in my head? Sorry, Johnson.
So I'm just going to encourage you, if you have a job, if you own a business, look at what you do in terms of size, scope, and complexity. Look at the relationships you have in terms of size, scope, and complexity. Do you have friends that are challenging you to perform at a higher level or a greater territory?
Complexity, size, like grow.
Right. You have friends that are encouraging you to perform. That's what is going to get you to the next level.
That's if you want to perform to the next level. See, it's scary and that's the thing that you read all this stuff. They say you are the sum of the 8 people that you're most frequently around. You know that saying they have or whatever, 6 people. Like, okay, but maybe the people want to be the sum of those 6 people because that's where they're comfortable. But if you're that person that's complaining and want to do something, and then those people are doing something different, then you need to assess that and have.
You should assess it regardless.
I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Yeah, you did.
You said maybe I did. I don't know. I'm a contradiction. Maybe I did. I don't know. I
would just encourage you to take a perspective and look at yourself, your situation, your job, your business, and look at the size, scope, and complexity of what you're currently doing. How does it compare to what you've done? And where are you trying to go? What other relationships, what other skills do you need? What other jobs do you need? Or contracting experiences do you need so that you can get there, and then build a roadmap around that.
Yeah, so I totally hijacked this. So let's get the train back on the tracks. Pick it up. So you started talking about federal contracts. So you've piqued some people's interest. What should they do if they want to potentially learn about federal contracts or start bidding on them and looking at?
Oh, I like the way you bring it back home. And so if you're interested in federal contracting, I'd advise
I don't want
you
to get in trouble tonight.
Do 3 things. The first is to register with your local PTAC. Again, PTAC stands for Procurement and Technical Assistance Center. Those are funded with our federal tax dollars.
Isn't there like one in like so many geographic areas?
There are over 200 PTACs across the nation.
There you go. No excuse.
Some of them have different areas of expertise, but their whole mission is to help businesses get government contracts. And so register, meet with the counselors there, tell them what your products and services are, your business history and background is. And if you don't already have one, they can help you to create a capability statement. If you aren't already registered in SAM, which is the government system for awards management, sam.gov, sam.gov, go register in SAM so that when contracting opportunities are available, you will be in a position to not only seek them, but to respond, because almost all of the federal contracts require you to be registered in SAM.
Just in SAM to bid on them.
To bid on them, yeah.
To bid on them.
Yeah.
So that's the minimum you need to do.
Yeah.
So what's that stuff I always hear people talking about, and they be calling the office all the time trying to get us to pay them money when they talk about this thing called GSA?
So GSA stands for the General Services Administration. It's the government's administrative arm that is responsible for managing many of the facilities and services that the government uses. And so they have what they call the GSA schedule, which is really federal supply schedule. And if you submit an application there, and the government vets whether or not you can provide different agencies your services, and then you come up with a list of pricing that you submit to the General Services Administration, they'll have you on a list, and you're on the list, I think, 7 years?
And then that's
five years.
That's the list that these contractors for the government can only go to.
Well, it's preferred. It's a preferred
list.
It's a
preferred list. So they go to that list first and put out the RFP, or they contact you and say, hey, can you give us a quote or pricing for this service? Blah,
Yes.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then if you're a small business, I would encourage you to make sure that your small business certifications are in order through the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA, what they call your reps and your certs, your representations and your certifications. The ones that are most important, where they have set asides, are small business based on the revenues for your NAICS code. Then there's small and disadvantaged. And then there's also service disabled veteran-owned business. So you have to signify that you are a veteran and that you've been disabled, and then there's set aside for those. There's Hub Zone certification, and Hub Zone stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zone, and that means that your business is located in an area where the economy is typically underserved, and that you employ a good number of people who live in underserved communities. And so the rationale behind that is, if Hub Zone firms increase their contracting, then those funds will be reinvested back in the community through jobs in the tax basis. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
I have no clue, because this is yours.
Women-owned small business as well.
This is all your territory.
And so the Small Business Administration has outlined subcontracting goals for each of those certifications that the agencies are supposed to make. So, for example, Gimme 5 was an initiative that we were promoting across the board a few years ago to increase the level of subcontracting to women-owned government contracting to women-owned businesses to at least 5%. Now, hear me. Women are over 50% of the population. Why are our businesses only getting 5, 7, 10% of the contracts? And y'all good with that? That dog just don't hunt. That don't hunt. So my 3 tips if you want to get in the government contracted PTAC. Register in SAM.
They should do to get
the small business certifications, and then once you get comfortable, SAM also has contracting opportunities that you can investigate. Work with your counselor at the PTAC to see if you're qualified to provide those services, and then start building your portfolio of work so that you have something to reference when you get one of these RFPs and you need to speak to the size, scope, and complexity of the work you've done relative to the work you're trying to do.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Size, scope, and complexity, and bidding on government contracts from Jessica Johnson Cope. I'm Waleed Cope. Sorry I didn't have much to add today, because she's the specialist on this topic, and I'm just here to support and carry that heavy book home every night for her to work on it while she dozes off on the couch. Anything else, Jessica?
Well, I was going to talk about size, scope, and complexity when it comes to relationships, but that's a whole nother episode.
Guess I'm in trouble. Well,
Not
thanks
at
for tuning
all.
in today.
Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time, subscribe, leave us comments, leave us a rating. 5 stars always do well, and we hope that you'll be back. If this isn't your first time, thanks for coming back. Tell a friend, tell a foe, tell us how much you love or don't like what we talk about.
Just
and
tell
we
us something.
really appreciate your time. Hope you got something meaningful from today's discussion. Say a little prayer so we can get this contract, and I'm gonna go back and finish working on the proposal.
Bye.